crazy one in the Spurs Suns. I'm not even going to give it out because it's just one of those like
you got to give it out.
All right, if you really want me to, it's.
Oh yeah,
it's like 7. Like fine, I'll do it. I know. All right, Devin Vassell, 18 plus points. Keldon Johnson, 25 plus PRA. Yusuf Nurkic, 8 plus rebounds. Wembanyama, 5 plus rebounds. Obviously a lower number there. And then Wembanyama, 18 plus points. That's actually a little bit of a boost, but just a tiny little bit. It's actually plus 1170. So it's like an out there one. But
I like it.
Well, the thing is, like here's what I kind of like about the new NBA schedule too. We're getting a lot of these home and homes where teams are seeing each other. It's almost like baseball where it's like you see them and then you see them again. We get an idea of what that matchup looks like. And then you can go right back to the well the next time in. Or you can go look at what didn't work and think, like last night, right? It was, okay, the Cavs got blown out, then they go to the Garden. Cavs are winning this game. Cavs won that game. Donovan Mitchell probably going to play better. Played better in that game. So you have at least a little bit more of an example now where you can say, I just saw them. It's not like you're going to go and say, I saw Wemby 2 months ago against Phoenix. It's I just saw him against Phoenix. So now we have an opportunity to go right back to that and see how he played against them as well. It doesn't mean there won't be coaching adjustments. There will, but there's only so many adjustments you can make for somebody like a Victor Wembanyama, and Keldon Johnson has been one of my favorite props this entire year. PRA, like literally any of them, but I just go PRA every single time. He's having a great year, and nobody's talking about it because it's all about Wemby, which is great, because that means the numbers stay low, and we could benefit from that.
I have a take now. I just have a weird feeling that if Alabama beats LSU and they run the table, they get to the SEC championship game, I think that they get into the playoff because I think that they win that game. Alabama's actually starting to figure some things out on the offensive side of the ball. I know Jaden Milroe's not, Caleb Williams. He's not Drake May. But the one thing he could do, he could hit the deep ball. And they're starting to figure out the run game a little bit. I don't love the offensive line. He's been under pressure a lot. And then defensively, they're still a top 10 unit, even without a guy like Will Anderson. I really like the secondary the last couple games. Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be a top 10 pick. So I'm coming around on Alabama, and it's Nick Saban. The reason I'm coming around on Alabama now that we've moved off we're blowing past key numbers from 8 down to 3, is as a Notre Dame fan, I could tell you the games that Brian Kelly is going to win and the games that Brian Kelly is going to have circles coached around him. And this seems like a spot where he's not going to fare so well against the GOAT, Nick Saban. So I trust Nick Saban in a big game more than Brian Kelly. The reason I kept going back to LSU is I think this game is going to be a shootout because LSU gives up all explosive plays. They're one of the worst defenses in the country, giving up the explosive. They're not a good tackling team. Even with all those 5 stars like Harold Perkins, they're just not really good. But I think if Alabama's able to kind of like slow things down, run the ball for 4 or 5 yards on those standard downs, it's going to be a lower scoring game. But if you think LSU's going to win this game and you missed the 8, why bet them at 3 when you could just bet Jaden Daniels to win Heisman? You're getting better than a 3-1 price. Statistically, he has the best quarterback numbers. He's number 2 in QBR. Michael Penix has really struggled the last couple weeks since that Oregon game, and he wasn't even really that great in the Oregon game in the second half. Fourth quarter, he made some big throws, but Oregon kicked the crap out of him, and he hasn't looked healthy. He looks a little bit beat up right now. He's thrown 3 interceptions the last 2 weeks, I believe. He's only completing like 55 to 60% of his passes. So I think right now is the perfect time to buy in on Daniels if you think LSU's live in this game, because then they beat Bama. They run the table the rest of the way most likely. They get into the SEC title game. And even if they don't win the SEC championship game and he gets into the playoff, just getting there, I think he wins the award because he's had the best season, and he's not the reason that they have 2 losses this season. It's the defense. And
LeBron James last night, man, forget even what the Lakers did. Just LeBron and himself, the 42 minutes, playing at such a high level in the fourth quarter of games this year. I feel like people will never truly appreciate the longevity that he's had in being at this level of play for as long as he has until he actually retires. Can you even put in perspective how incredible and just how unique it is that he's able to play at this level for now, 21 seasons? I'm going to steal this from Ryan because he brought it up last segment or a couple segments ago. He thinks that the Heisman could be decided in this game if Jaden Daniels plays well and that great LSU offense is able to puncture through that very stingy Alabama defense. Whether or not you agree with that, I don't know, and Ryan's right here so he can defend himself if you disagree. But more importantly, when you look at this game, does the LSU offense outweigh the Alabama defense, or are you an Alabama backer in this?
Hey, Ryan, do you want to ask me so we can put you on the social media post when it goes up? Okay, good enough. I'll take that. I will take that.
I'll give credit.
Listen, I fully believe Jaden Daniels can win or lose the Heisman this weekend. Like I've said that a couple of times this week. I think if Jaden Daniels goes out there and has the week that guy is capable of having, I think LSU. I honestly think LSU can beat Alabama. I know that everybody has been talking about Alabama, the one-loss team that can still get in. They can jump in and shock some people, and I don't disagree with that. I think Alabama has certainly looked a lot better the last couple of weeks, but let's not pretend Alabama hasn't kind of skated in a couple of games by just out-physicaling team. Like, they have not looked like in Oregon. I like LSU in this game. I like LSU in the cover. I think it's good value as a dog, and I think they will be a dog going into this when the line officially settles. But I think Daniels can absolutely win the Heisman this weekend. If he goes out there and just has another game, right? Like, I don't need to go out there and blow people away. I don't think he needs to have one of those games that we're talking about for decades. He just needs to do what he has been doing. I like LSU and the speed on the perimeter. I like LSU on the speed on the outside. Alabama has struggled for the most part to do an excellent job of defending the outside, and I think that is where they can win this game.
And an offense that's humming in a lot of ways, and A.J. Brown is just absolutely ridiculous. But we did see Jalen Hurts kind of limping around a little bit. He doesn't want to talk about that knee. Any concern there for you?
Yeah, when I'm looking at this game from a betting perspective, I'm hammering the under because of those concerns that you're talking about, right? Like Jalen Hurts with whatever mystery injury ailments that he's dealing with. I mean, we're looking at a point total right now of 46, right? And for me, I'm just not really buying it. One, because Dallas defensively is really, really good. And I know some of these numbers have been crazy inflated by, some of their early season slate, right? But that being said, I mean, just look at what these guys are doing just on film. Jerome Bland is playing out of his mind right now. This is a team that has, again, allowed almost no production on the outside. When we take a look at some of these wide receiver numbers, it gets pretty gross pretty quick. You know what I'm talking about? So I just think it's an interesting matchup from the Cowboys' perspective. Defensively, they've allowed the fewest receptions to outside receivers. They've allowed a 47.5% completion rate to outside wide receivers. That's the second best in the NFL. The second fewest yards per game to outside wide receivers. What is the heart and soul? What is the driving force of this Philadelphia offense right now? It's the outside wide receivers. I think DeAndre Swift has been good, right? I don't think he's been great, but he's been good. But he's been feasting off the backs of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. If they can't get that going and Jalen Hurts doesn't have his mobility, I feel like the Philadelphia offense could really, really find themselves in a little bit of a bag here. So, and we know Dallas, man, they're not really converting a lot in the red zone either, right? So for me, I just look at that 46-point total, and I'm like, I'm not really feeling that one,